Restoring World War II aircraft has gone from a pastime to a profitable business for a Cameron Park man. Edible artistry is a moneymaker for an Elk Grove mom. And speaking of art, a Sacramento man creates functional art out of reclaimed wood. And a family's grape-growing heritage is now a budding winemaking business in Lodi. What do they all have in common? Turning their hobbies into business. Hi, I'm Jason Schultz. It's all coming up on Yes, We're Open. Yes, We're Open is made possible by
Interwest is a retail independent insurance agency offering a full range of business and personal insurance products. We're very proud of our partnership with Allied Insurance, our alliance with public television, and thankful for the opportunity to serve our local communities.
Have you ever heard the phrase, choose a job you love and you never will have to work a day in your life? Well, that was just as true when Confucius said it 2,500 years ago as it is today. For many folks, that means turning a hobby or a part-time passion into their own new business. That's true for Tracy Avenell. Her love of vintage furniture and collectibles went from collecting to opening her own funky store right here in Midtown Sacramento. Tracy's going to show us around her shop here in a moment. But first, let's take to the sky and meet a Cameron Park man whose love of vintage warbirds is reaching new heights. A vintage World War II T-6 buzzes the Cameron Park runway. Not an unusual sight for the crew at Vultures Row Aviation. Today they have a special visitor who reminds them of why they do what they do. More on him in a moment. This team is in the plane restoration business. Their large hangar on the edge of the runway is a workshop filled with the tools to bring life to aircraft left for dead decades ago.
Have you got that bolt to come loose yet? Right now we're working on the rarest of the rare aircraft.
Vultures Row Aviation is the result of a lifetime of fascination with flying for Chuck Wall.
There's only a handful of flying examples in the world, and we bring them into the shop, take them apart, and put them back together new. And when I say that, we go to complete ground-up restoration. These are 70-year-old airplanes, and a couple of them have been underwater for 40, 50 years. And so they're in really rough shape. They're not flyable airplanes when they come here. And when they leave, they will be 100% authentic, restored, flyable aircraft.
Chuck had already restored 2 airplanes as a hobby when he and his wife Carol started the business in 2010.
I retired in 2008 from the FAA. I was an air traffic controller for 25 plus years and sat behind a radar screen and did that for my first, I call it my first life, and this is my afterlife.
Is that going to be in the way?
No, you won't be going up that high. You're stopped.
Oh,
it goes up right to
here.
where your hand is and stops
okay.
there.
We were at a point in our lives, both personally and financially, that it made a lot of sense. With his skills and mine and where we were with growing our own family with our kids, it really seemed like a natural choice, although it was a big leap of faith to start the business and get rolling. Once we got it underway, it made a lot of sense.
Because their work is so specialized, word has traveled quickly to vintage aircraft collectors in need of restoration. Today, the team of 13 mechanics is working on a Navy SBD-4 Dauntless used during World War II.
It went to the Great Lakes region in late '43 for training, and it was flown on and off of the USS Sable. And it had an engine failure at one point when a student was doing carrier qualifications. On takeoff, the engine just failed right at the end of the ship, and then it sat at 315 feet in Lake Michigan for 50 years. So that is truly a 100% ground-up restoration. And the timeline on something like that, it will run 4 to 5 years. Right now, we're trying to finish up the fuselage part of it so that the riveting can get done, and the airplane here in the next couple months will be on 3 wheels. The wings are going back together, and we're about a year away from flying.
Of course, this kind of full restoration isn't cheap.
You can spend upwards of $2 to $3 and even $4 million on some airplanes and more.
But it's a price their clients are willing to pay.
It's because of the rarity of the airplane. What they're doing is they're preserving history for future generations. They take great pride in their collection of aircraft, and rightfully so, because they're spending a lot of their own time and money preserving history from the greatest generation. And so we try to step up to the plate and meet the same challenge to where we can provide the authenticity and try to recreate exactly the way the airplane was, so that it is a time capsule to be continued on for many decades and hundreds of years to come.
If the idea of an airplane rescued from the bottom of Lake Michigan taking flight impresses average folks, imagine Francis Ferry's reaction.
Would you like to go see the engines?
Yeah.
Engine shop is down this way.
I didn't think I'd ever see a SB-2C again, and I think we're going to be able to. I'm 94, I'll be 95 pretty soon. So how long is it going to be before you get this plane fixed and ready to fly?
2 years.
2 years? Oh, I'll make it. Yeah, I'll make it.
He was piloting one of these as Naval Lieutenant Francis Ferry in 1945. His mission, sink the Japanese warship Yamato, the most powerful battleship ever constructed to date.
I was the second plane to dive, and I was credited with the hit that started the fire on the Yamato, which eventually caused its sinking.
Chuck invited Francis and fellow World War II pilot Roy Coverdale here today to take a look at the restoration. The men got the red carpet treatment. The staff at Vulture's Row got some wisdom in return.
You need over this way.
I was at a meeting on the East Coast, and
I could have brought some.
there was a Japanese admiral and a Japanese general at the same table that I was at. And I made a statement like, I was sorry that I was the person that attacked your battleship. And the admiral turned to me and he said, the war is over. We're at peace and we are friends now. And I just got quiet. I couldn't say anything more.
What did that make you think when he said that?
I thought of the people that I destroyed.
Did it carry with you?
Yep.
For Chuck Wall, this is the true payoff. His father piloted during Vietnam and grandfather in World War II. But Chuck never flew military missions. Flying above air shows in formation is as close to battle as he'll ever get.
I've been around aviation all my life. I don't really know anything different. I didn't really know it was going to be a successful business. I just jumped in with both feet and swam as hard as I could. And I feel that if you put your life soul into something and you're passionate about it and you're good enough to do it, that you'll succeed at it. And so we tried it, and here we are 4.5 years later, and it seems to be working.
Turning your hobby into a business is not only possible, it can be very profitable. According to Forbes.com, sharing your hobby is a great way to cash in. Teaching folks, maybe it's piano or painting lessons, is one idea. In person or even online. Another, give speeches or write a book about your hobby. Or share your passion with others through a tour or performance. But be careful, the last thing you want to do is get burned out doing something you love, trying to make money from something that used to be fun. Time to visit the workshop. Stephen Tiller combines artistry and handcrafted woodworking to make beautiful furniture pieces from reclaimed wood. As Rob Stewart tells us, they are really functional pieces of art.
Creative carpentry, working with wood, is a trade as old as time itself. And Stephen Tiller knows his trade. He's a master furniture maker, a carpenter, artist, and engineer all in one. Stephen plies that trade at his Sacramento studio, Reclamation Art and Furniture. Using custom tools, Stephen carves and creates one-of-a-kind pieces.
This is local harvest material, so it came from downtown Sacramento, and it's called California black walnut or Claro walnut. What I call is urban harvest, which is inner city trees. They're either storm damaged or diseased, or the city needs to take them down for some reason.
Trees like this one, a giant but dying decades-old walnut that this homeowner must remove before it falls. Stephen and a team of arborists and wood-cutting sawyers are hard at work, taking the walnut down branch by branch.
It's a really rewarding part to see something not end up as firewood or going into a landfill and then have it take on its second life in a fantastic piece of furniture. It's fun. The guys that climb the trees and disassemble them and take them down in pieces, they analyze the whole tree before it comes down. They figure out how they want to cut it so that it makes the best lumber when it comes down. It's a complete process, and they care about what they're doing, and they love it, and that's why they're doing it.
Robert Beauchamp is a sawyer. Trees are cut, processed, dried, and displayed at his Zamora mill. Robert and Stephen Tiller work hand in hand in today's harvest, and many of Stephen's boards come from Beauchamp's mill.
When you see something like this, do you already see what you want to do with it? Do you see your furniture and art in the wood?
Yeah, I see it in the raw material. A lot of artists have the ability to visualize something in place before it's created. My life has been carpentry since I was younger. But most of that has been construction and home building, and I've been toying with furniture and building fine furniture pieces for a long time. And then in 2008, when the economy started to take this huge downfall, I had to figure out something new to do. There weren't any jobs out there, I had to create one. So over a process of time, I ended up creating this business.
Many of Stephen's custom pieces have brought him national recognition from collectors and commercial projects. His tables and benches are used in several Northern California restaurants. He's even created the conference table for the NBA Sacramento Kings.
I think that the recognition is wonderful, and it's not something that I think a lot of people that go out and they say, you know, look at me, look at me, look at me. And when it's turned the other way and people are saying, that's good stuff, we really like it, thank you, it's a totally different sensation.
Okay, now we're here with Tracy Avenel from Mark Vintage. Tracy, thank you for joining us. You've got a great store here. Tell me all about it.
We opened up in July of this year, and it's kind of been a progression of little pop-up shops and things that we've done in the past for the last 2 years. And we decided, why not have a shop where it was our own space and we could do whatever we wanted with it. And I've always wanted to have my own shop ever since I was a little girl. My dad had a sandwich shop deli when I was growing up, and I remember when I was in junior high and high school, one of my favorite things to do on the weekends was go and work the cash register.
So what are the price on these?
And tell me a little bit about the store. What can folks find if they come here?
We have got everything from furniture to home decorations. We've got clothing, accessories, and we focus mainly on the 50s through the 70s and different styles through those periods too. We have the mid-century modern. We've got kind of the kitschy, bad taste stuff that is just unusual, and just kind of everything in between.
Now it's you and your husband, Scott.
Yes. Scott and I, we take working vacations. We travel up and down the coast, and we go to estate sales. We meet people who want to get rid of their grandmother's stuff. We go to flea markets. We go to antique fairs, you name it, and we've been there.
You have a full-time job already.
Yes, I do. Yes, I'm a nurse, and that's a full-time job. This is a full-time job. Being a mother, a wife, and anything else is a full-time job. So I think time is probably our biggest challenge right now. And basically, I mean, trying to keep our heads above water.
You know, there's folks out there that might be thinking about doing something like this.
I would tell them to make sure that they are doing what they love. If they don't have a passion for it, if it's something that they're not excited to do every morning when they wake up, it will not be worth it, because it's a lot of hard work, and unless it's something that you enjoy doing a lot, it won't be worth it. The scariest thing was the commitment, to make the commitment and actually say, okay, we're gonna do this, and not just talk about it. We weren't quite ready for it yet, but we thought if we didn't take the opportunity, we would never do it.
And so you took that leap of faith.
Yes, absolutely.
Worth it?
Absolutely, yes.
Tennille Finnegan-Saldivar started decorating cakes as a hobby in 2008. She was so good at it that folks started asking her to make cakes for them and paying her for it. Her passion for edible artistry turned into her own business, Hot Mama's Cakes.
Usually when I'm out and about, I'll see a pattern or a design and instantly think of a cake. It's very weird, I know. When I began, it wasn't for the love of baking, it was for the love of the artistry. I saw things on TV that I thought were amazing. I thought, wow, maybe I could do something like that. Once I saw what was happening and what was being created from an edible medium, I wanted to try it. I wanted to see what it was all about. And once I got involved in it, I just kept getting deeper and deeper and wanting to try new things and really testing myself and testing my abilities and pushing myself. I didn't have an instructor or a teacher telling me how to do things. I just kind of had to figure it out on my own. I use tools that you wouldn't think are made for cake use, such as clay tools, razor blades, scissors, paintbrushes. These are all things that I've had to learn along the way. I haven't had any kind of training or any classes. I just kind of learned along the way. My first attempt was not a very good one. It was a disaster. I baked a nice two-tiered topsy-turvy cake. This cake was so dry, but the decorations were pretty cool. I felt like I needed to really spend some time in the baking world and really get this down. If I want to have a serious business, I need to offer my clients a good product. Not only should it look good, but it should taste good too. So I began researching recipes, and through trial and error, lots of error. Basically from sketch to my final product, I'll take a look at what they're interested in and basically put together a custom design based on what they want. Most people say they don't want to eat it because it's so beautiful, because it is a piece of art. They want to show it off to their friends. They want it sitting on their counter as a display. Cake design is definitely a labor of love, because it really does take a lot of time and practice and patience. And creativity. You can't go anywhere without any kind of creativity. I would love to have my own shop. I'd love to teach classes. I'm very interested in showing people what I can do and helping them improve in their artistry as well. I was scared when I first started, but I took the plunge and I just kept going and going. But now I feel like I've gotten to a point where my art can kind of speak for itself.
Just over half of all businesses in the U.S. are based out of the home. According to PowerHomeBiz.com, finding the right balance between business and family life is one of the biggest challenges. Whether it's a new baby or that chatty spouse, you need to plan for disruptions. Make sure the whole family knows that work time is for work and family time is for family. One option, hire someone to help with childcare or household chores. Now time for a toast to entrepreneurship. Gerardo Espinosa's grandfather immigrated to California as a farm worker from Mexico in the 1940s. Decades later, he started his own farm and grew wine grapes wholesale. Gerardo and his uncles started making their own wine in the late 1990s, and now he's taking that winemaking hobby and grape growing legacy to the next level. If you want a table on a Friday night at Gerardo Espinosa's Lodi Tasting Room, reservations are recommended.
You make your own wine, right? So which one would you recommend?
I recommend them all.
The intimate setting seats less than 50 people.
Okay, ladies, so this is the sangria.
It's called Vinieros Aurora at Pamplona Tapas, and it's more than a tasting room.
Yeah, so we have small dishes where you can actually get a full meal out of it. So you can have a full dinner, you know, with different types of dishes, or you can just come and sip on a glass of wine and order some olives, you know. Simple as that.
The business is a partnership with Chef Ruben Larrazolo. Ruben owns Alebrijes Mexican Bistro. The tasting room and restaurant share a kitchen.
Tapas are, you know, traditional Spain small dishes, but Ruben has done a great job putting together not just the Spanish influence, but also the Latin American. So he does a lot of Argentinian, Mexican influence in his dishes.
New boutique wineries continue to pop up around the Lodi area. Good news for wine lovers looking for a more personal tasting experience. And Gerardo's wine comes with a story.
The name of Vinieros Aurora, it's in honor of my grandmother's name, Aurora. Viñedos is vineyards, so it's the first light of the day in the vineyards. That's the label. And, you know, we wanted to honor her. We wanted to, you know, show to our friends and family, you know, our heritage. Don Victor is my grandfather, and my grandfather came here in the 1940s with the Bracero program. That was when, in the 1940s, when they had the government agreements where Mexican labor workers will come to the fields and work, and then they will go back, you know, once the seasons were over. One of the ranchers asked him, hey, is anybody here knows how to drive a tractor? My grandfather was the only one that raised his hand. So from there on, you know, he was the driver of the tractors. He raised my uncles, my mom in Mexico. He gave them all education. They were able to graduate with their agricultural engineers, University in Mexico. And throughout his time working, he was able to purchase a grocery store here in town. And, you know, from there, he started bringing his sons, my uncles, to help him. And then from there, you know, they purchased land in Clements. And in 1989, that's when they planted their first vine in the soil.
Since then, the family has sold its grapes wholesale to premium winemakers. About 10 years ago, the family started making its own wine. And when they won double gold at the State Fair amateur competition, Gerardo knew there was something special in those bottles.
In fact, it was supposed to be my hobby. It became my second job, if I can say that. Yeah, my profession is architecture, so I work for an architectural firm in Stockton, and been, you know, that's my career. The winemaking, like I said, it was a hobby, and it just became a hobby that it's been successfully grown. It was a little scary, but I think the thing that helped me a lot was that I still had my full-time job. I still have my full-time job. So that was a little bit of, you know, flexibility there.
Gerardo makes about 1,500 cases of wine each year. It's sold online, through the wine club, and at the tasting room.
Okay, Aurora, what are we tasting here?
So today we're tasting our 2013 Tempranillo, McKinley River Tempranillo.
This is what it's all about right here, isn't it?
Yeah, this is it right here.
Cheers.
Cheers. And I think that's in our blood, you know, always following our dreams, follow where we want to go, you know, always being aggressive. Don't look back. If you start something, finish it, you know, and that's what my grandfather, that's always been his character.
And when Gerardo's grandfather and uncle stop by the tasting room, a toast is in order to the man known as Don Victor, raising a glass of wine made in his honor.
My grandfather and my grandmother, that's something that they always try to bring the family together at all times, even if it is a glass of wine.
It's the root of everything. If you got good root, everything grows up, and I think the family is like that. All the family grows together and makes the family more stronger.
Like a vineyard.
Yes, exactly, that's what it is.
So what's your hobby? Is it something that could turn into a budding business for you? From cakes to vintage collectibles, it sure did for the folks that we met today. That's going to do it for this edition of Yes, We're Open. Thanks for joining us.
You can purchase a DVD or Blu-ray copy of this program. Here's the cost. To order, just visit us online or call 888-814-3923.
Yes, We're Open is made possible by
Interwest is a retail independent insurance agency offering a full range of business and personal insurance products. We're very proud of our partnership with Allied Insurance, our alliance with public television, and thankful for the opportunity to serve our local communities.